Hello everyone, glad to be back. Today is the 25th of October. Now it's 20 to 10 in the morning Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for the day, in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. Second update will be a little bit late in the evening on my Patreon page, in which I will share additional news that will be reported by Russian media outlets, and also today I will upload on Patreon additional video about fighter jets that are actively used during Ukrainian crisis by both sides, and also I will talk about Western-made fighter jets that can be and probably will be introduced to this conflict once Western states, NATO member states, will begin to introduce control over the western regions of Ukraine. There are theoretical chance that some fighter jets may be sent to Kiev regime before western regions of Ukraine become under control of NATO member states, but I highly doubt that that will happen. But anyway, I hope Patreon community will find that video interesting. Previously, I did made a two-part video about main battle tanks that are used during this special military operation. Well, before I continue with the news, dear friends, let me also remind you that yesterday I did made a walk and talk type video, a news update from Moscow, and I'm grateful to everyone who find the time to check that video out. And if you did not see it yet, I hope you will do so. As I said in my yesterday's update, I will definitely try to make at least one or two walk and talk type of video every week. And dear friends, on my Patreon page, I do walk and talk type of videos on regular basis. That's been said, let's talk about news now. And one more topic. Sorry for long intro. Yesterday, once I come back from Moscow, and I live, by the way, in Dmitrov, which is not far away from Moscow, I was so tired that I was unable to be active in internet, in the comment sections or on my Telegram. I apologize for that. I did try to compensate for it this morning, and I did react on several dozens of comments under yesterday's video. And as I said, I'm immensely grateful for your attention and support. More likes and comments definitely influence, in my understanding, YouTube's extremely aggressive algorithm, and thus gives me or increases the chances to me to reach wider audience. And yes, that's been said, let's talk about news now. And first of all, short summary of the situation on the Ukrainian battlefield. According to reports from Russian media outlets, no significant changes on any of the sectors of the front line. But let's go sector by sector. So from southern ones up to northern ones. Kherson region, it's artillery duels, mainly between the sides. Recon operations and the constant attempts from Ukrainian side to cross the Dnieper River with small groups and establish some footholds on the left bank. And almost all these attempts are total failures and suicidal operations. Very few Ukrainian groups manage to establish small footholds, and yet again, Russian side is calling artillery and aviation strikes on those areas where Ukrainian forces are. The small units are concentrated, and as a result, usually those forces are scattered all along the banks and are trying to go back to right bank. Pure suicidal operations in every sense. And overall situation is under full Russian control. No significant changes or any significant threats that Ukrainian side will be able to establish a more or less significant bridgehead on the left bank. That's the situation at this point. When it comes to Zaporozhye and Donetsk sectors of the front line, the initiative is in Russian hands. for quite a while now, and it's Russian forces that are conducting local scale offensive operations. Main hotspot is still Orekhov bridgehead here, where quite a large number of Ukrainian units are concentrated, and at this point only one question is remaining: when the Russian side will begin encircling this grouping of forces. I have no doubts that Ukrainian forces will not be able to conduct any more or less significant offensive operations in this area or any other area of the front line. So Donetsk sector, a similar story: artillery duels between the sides, recon operations, and the Russian local scale offensive operations, especially in between Vremovsky salient and Ugledar cities. And when it comes to southern flank of Donetsk sector or Donetsk sector entirely, it's the usual hotspots: Marinka, Krasnogorovka, Avdiivka. When it comes to Avdiivka, by the way, situation for Ukrainian forces are deteriorating as time goes by on daily basis. If you remember, I did report that Russian forces did manage to establish control over the Terikon area quite some time ago, but Western so-called media outlets and also Ukrainian ones were doubting this information and basically demanding some confirmations. And well, we have confirmation now, and well, I guess this is a good enough confirmation for them. Russian flag over the Terikon. This is, by the way, westland of chemical plant that is located on the northwestern part of Avdiivka. That's how it looks from above, and this is the area, by the way, that we are talking about, northern western parts of Avdiivka. And from this artificial hill, one may say, Russian side has quite a good view over the entire area here. And we can say that all the roads at this point, all the roads that are going in Avdiivka or out of Avdiivka, definitely are under full Russian fire control. Well, let's go back to map. And well, as I said from the very beginning, despite claims from some other experts that Russian operation, main task for Russian operation was full encirclement of Avdiivka and even establishment of control over the city itself, I had a different approach. In my understanding, Avdiivka was a quite ideal location to create second Bakhmut, second trap, big trap for Ukrainian armed forces. And for many, many months, by the way, veterans of our community probably remember that I was saying that Avdiivka will be second Bakhmut, will be second big trap for Ukrainian armed forces, and the Russian side will definitely use this tactical opportunity. And exactly this is happening. Ukrainian media or independent creators on internet, also Western ones, are trying to push this narrative that Russian offensive in Avdiivka direction, recent offensive, was failure because Russian forces lost some 100, 200, 300,000. I mean, fantasy of these Ukrainian or Western creators are just without limits. They can claim just about anything, really. And they were pushing this narrative that Russian forces failed because they lost this many military equipment and so on. But in reality, I will call Russian offensive operation significant success, tactical success, by the way. And yes, there were some losses in military equipment and manpower. Any offensive operation, when you are attacking heavily defended areas, will have losses. That's unfortunate reality of any military conflict. But Russian forces did manage to reach their objective, and Avdiivka now definitely is in operational encirclement, and the garrison in Avdiivka is basically trapped. It seems like Ukrainian forces or Kiev regime, let's say, did not learn nothing from Bakhmut episode of this confrontation, and they will send more and more units in this area. And already, by the way, several channels, military channels, are reporting that at least 2 Ukrainian brigades were decimated in Avdiivka direction during this Russian offensive operations, and the number will just increase as time goes by. And my understanding is that Russian forces probably will begin push inside Avdiivka, inside the city, in about 3-4 weeks time, when Ukrainian garrison will begin to experience heavy shortages of ammunition and any supply whatsoever, because, as I said, city is in operational encirclement and nothing can go inside or out of Avdiivka without Russian side noticing it and destroying, or at least trying to destroy. And also, by the way, of course, weather is getting colder and colder, and absence of reinforcements, significant reinforcements, absence of any supplies. Also, weather conditions will have a heavy influence on Ukrainian garrison, like it happened in Bakhmut. And that's why I think somewhere around the end of November, maybe beginning of December, Russian forces will probably push inside Avdiivka itself and step by step force Ukrainian units to flee this city. But yet again, during that time, from now to Russian advance in city itself, Avdiivka definitely will be second Bakhmut for Ukrainian forces, and who knows how many brigades, Ukrainian brigades, will be decimated in that area, in addition to 2 brigades that already have been completely destroyed. And when it comes to northern sectors of the front line, from Seversk to Kupiansk and the Kharkov region, no significant changes in these areas. It's artillery duels. Initiative is in Russian hand. Local scale skirmishes are taking place, and majority of reports are indicating that it's Russian forces that are conducting these local scale offensive operations. I almost on daily basis share on my Telegram page videos how Russian forces are establishing control over the Ukrainian strongholds. If you are interested, you can check those videos on my Telegram. And this is it for now. Ukrainian forces report that they did manage to strike in Crimean direction, but on Russian media I did not see any whatsoever information about this. So I guess that may be speculation from Ukrainian forces. Not even Russian independent channels report about any strikes in direction of Crimea this morning or during the night time. Well, before I continue with some additional news, let me remind you, dear friends, that this project with several channels on YouTube, Rumble, and Telegram exists solely thanks to support of members of our community, and I will be immensely grateful if you will also consider to support my work with small donations through PayPal, buy me a coffee, or by subscribing to my Patreon. You can see links under this video in the description box or in the pinned comment. That's been said, let's continue with some additional news. TASS News Agency is reporting that this morning, early hours of today, over the Bryansk region, Russian air defense systems did shut down 4 Ukrainian drones. No reports about any casualties on the ground or significant damaged. Also, by the way, Russian media outlets, in this case RIA Novosti, is reporting that Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu visited frontline command center of Vostok, a grouping of forces, probably, which is South Donetsk direction, which is mainly operates on southern flanks, southern sectors of the front line. And well, this is southern, mainly southern Donetsk direction, also southern flank of Donetsk. And well, I guess Shoigu received all the latest updates about situation on the front line. During the previous several days, there were some rumors that were circulating in internet, especially because of this push, media push from Ukrainian or Western outlets that Russian offensive in direction of Avdiivka was failure, that they were also creating this narrative or rumors that some changes may take place in Russian Defense Ministry because Putin probably were not happy that Avdiivka was not taken straight away. Well, I doubt that, as I said, I doubt that Russian forces had a task to establish control over the Avdiivka right now, and therefore I don't believe that there will be any changes in Russian Defense Ministry, at least in near future, in immediate future. Let's say, you know, by the way, time to time, I'm quite critical of Shoigu and Gerasimov, head of Russian General Staff, when I see reasons for criticism. But when it comes to this Avdiivka operation, well, it's unfortunate that Russian side had some losses. Few dozens of military equipment was destroyed, but I guess main purpose of that counteroffensive did reach its targets. Avdiivka is in operational encirclement at this point. It's a trap for Ukrainian forces, and I don't see reason why Putin will make these big changes in leadership of Russian Defense Ministry now. In future, maybe, but right now, I don't think so. But let's see. Maybe I'm mistakenly reading big picture. Who knows? Let's continue. TASS news agency is reporting that, according to Russian Defense Ministry, as a result of local scale skirmishes, Russian offensive operations in Donetsk direction, Ukrainian forces lost 200 military personnel, killed, by the way, which is quite a high number, although Donetsk direction is always very active, and time to time death toll on part of Ukrainian military personnel, Ukrainian army, or remnants of Ukrainian army reaches 500 and even more. Also, RIA Novosti is reporting that Vladimir Saldo, governor of Kherson region, did report about yet another failed attempts of Ukrainian forces to cross the Dnieper River, and he said that just in previous 3 days, Ukrainian forces lost about 9 speedboats with amphibious force on this speedboat. They did not even manage to cross the Dnieper River. As I said, by the way, these operations, these attempts from Ukrainian side to cross the Dnieper River and establish some foothold or bridgehead on the left bank is suicidal operations. Only few soldiers are small units, let's say, are reaching left bank, and then they are becoming under fire of Russian artillery and airstrikes. Majority of forces are not even able to cross the Dnieper River, and Saldo, governor of Kherson region, just confirming exactly this information. Just in 3 days, Ukrainian forces lost 9 boats, speedboats with amphibious force on it. Who knows how many military personnel was on those 9 boats. And also quite interesting news, RIA Novosti is reporting that, former CIA analyst Larry Johnson, during his interview with Stephen Gardner on channel of Stephen Gardner, did spoke about HIMARS systems and ATACMS missiles in particular. As we know, ATACMS long-range missiles are launched by HIMARS MLRS. And, according to Larry Johnson, Kiev regime only had about 12 ATACMS missiles. Majority of those missiles already been used, and according to information that Larry Johnson has, it's only few ATACMS are in the hands of Kiev regime at this point, 3 to be more precise. And, rest of them were already used, and Russian side did shut down vast majority of them. And according to Johnson, Western side does makes a huge mistake when they are introducing any new type of weapons as some kind of game changer. They did not learn nothing from previous such attempts to create some legends about any of the Western-made military equipment. It was HIMARS, it was Western-made battle tanks, Leopards and Challengers. They didn't even try to come up with some legends about Abrams tanks, although we did not even see any single Abrams on the front line at this point. I wonder why. Maybe Pentagon don't want to see burn down Abrams tanks from I don't know. But Johnson is absolutely right, and Russian officials also did say many times before. I mean, no matter what kind of weapons Western elites gonna introduce to the battlefield, Russian side will adapt and will take care of any additional dangers. And exactly this is happening. Let's see if Washington will continue deliveries of these long-range ATACMS missiles to Kiev regime. Probably they will. Let's see. At this point, I wonder when Kiev regime will begin using Taurus long-range cruise missiles. I'm quite sure. Once US did deliver ATACMS missiles, Germany probably was forced, German government was forced to send a Taurus, a long-range cruise missiles also. And at this point, only question is when Kiev regime will begin using those missiles, and will, if Kiev regime will be even able to use those missiles, especially because recently, in just last 2 weeks, by the way, Russian side destroyed probably vast majority of remnants of Ukrainian Air Force. And we are talking about almost from 15 to 20 different type of aircrafts and the helicopters, mainly MiG-29s, by the way. Mainly MiG-29s, and many airfields were destroyed in Ukraine, probably, and this activization of Russian side probably has everything to do with the possibility that Taurus long-range missiles already been delivered to Kiev regime. Let's continue with some additional news. And RIA Novosti is reporting that Biden's this new draft or demand to 400 and something billion to support Ukraine, Israel, Taiwan, and for some other spendings may end up having trouble in the US Senate because of some opposition among Republicans in the Senate. Let's see how it will go. This is, by the way, this demand from Biden for 100 billion is, as I said quite a few times before, is possibly last big paycheck for U.S. military-industrial complex and U.S. corrupt politicians, because, as we all know, vast majority of funds that are formally sent to Zelensky and his associates are usually going back on accounts of U.S. military industrial complex and U.S. corrupt politicians. And they will probably, for this exact reason, they will probably push as much as they can this new package of financial and military aid to be approved by U.S. lawmakers. But let's see. Maybe Republicans will refuse this time. Who knows? Although I doubt, by the way, it's too big of too much money, really. And I'm quite sure military-industrial complex will use all its influence over both parties in U.S. Congress and Senate to make sure that, this 100 billion will be allocated. Let's continue. TASS news agency is reporting that U.S. Republicans in Congress finally come up with the name of future head of Congress, and this person is Mike Jones from Louisiana state. Let's see if this person will receive a majority of votes. As we all know, before Congress will have its speaker, no other decision can be made by Congress. So I guess White House and congressmen are in hurry to come up with the new speaker. And well, let's see. RIA Novosti is also reporting, by the way, that Germany's military giant raises prices for ammo for Ukraine by 50%. That's quite interesting. They also want some money, by the way, from this possibly last big paycheck from US. And from that 100 and something billion, 61.3 billion, if I'm not mistaken, supposed to be for Ukraine. And well, in this case, Rheinmetall, by the way, German giant in military-industrial complex, wants some piece of cake. And they did increase price for 150mm caliber shells from 2,000 euros to 3,600 euros, almost double price. And well, no surprises, isn't it? No surprises. Everyone is trying to use Ukraine as much as they possibly can. And that's a tragedy of Ukraine. And that's a tragedy of Ukrainian society, that still under this heavy influence of propaganda, or I don't know what happened to people there, by the way. Why they cannot see that they have been used by these so-called Western elites and their puppets in the Kiev regime. Why they are not opposing to this madness? But maybe they are afraid, I don't know. Probably they are afraid to say something. RIA Novosti is reporting, by the way. And next big topic, by the way, is Middle East. Escalation in Middle East. And, well, we have a report here from RIA Novosti that as a result of recent escalation in the West Bank, by the way, not just in the Gaza Strip, but now we see severe escalation on the West Bank also, which is also Palestinian territory, by the way. This is West Bank here, which is under occupation of Israel, and sector Gaza or Gaza Strip is here. And the last several days we did see significant escalation in the West Bank, and as a result of this, according to RIA Novosti, more than 100 Palestinians were killed. More than 100 Palestinians were killed. And well, if escalation continues, by the way, if escalation continues, maybe we will have indicators on our hands that Netanyahu regime is intending to not just force out of sector Gaza local residents, mainly towards Egypt, but maybe Netanyahu's government also has some plan to further escalate in the West Bank and force local residents also out of this region into Jordan or into Syria. When we are talking about Netanyahu and his criminal associates, these genocidal criminals, nothing can be ruled out. Nothing can be ruled out. Unfortunately, that's how bad situation is in Israel and in Palestine. Let's continue with some other news. And dear friends, RT is reporting that Macron now wants the so-called anti-ISIS coalition to go after Hamas. Yesterday, I just, I reported about some statements of Macron when he said that, maybe it's time to go back to two-state solutions. And he was talking about West Bank. He did not say nothing about Gaza's sector Gaza Strip. But he did spoke about West Bank. And I was thinking maybe it's an indicator that some European states may oppose regime in Israel, Netanyahu's regime, and push for peace talks. But no, today we have this report. Probably someone called Macron and tell him to shut up. And today he come up with, or to think twice about his statements. And today he did come up with such a, not today afternoon, straight away he come up with such a statement that maybe it's time for anti-ISIS military coalition, Western military coalition, to go after Hamas. That's a pure indicator. That's a pure indicator that NATO member states are willing to send their military personnel to participate in the ground operations. And by the way, I don't know if how many citizens of these NATO member states realize that their country have been put into position when they are participating in genocide of Palestinians. I did see some protest movements all around Europe, in the Northern America, but is it enough? If France, US, UK, Germany will participate in the ground operation one way or another, a ground operation against Palestinians in Gaza Strip and then possibly in the West Bank, they will participate in genocide. And those countries forever will be claimed as a genocidal. Am I wrong? Tell me in comments what you think, but Macron's statements are very dangerous. Basically, we have a first time leader of this, formal leader of these Western states are stating that it is possible that they will participate in military operations together with Netanyahu's government and their forces. It's a very dangerous development, by the way, very dangerous development. And for many times now, I did spoke about possibility that this escalation between Palestine and Israel may engulf entire region, because Western so-called elites may use this conflict to provoke confrontation between Israel and Hezbollah, Lebanese Hezbollah, and then even strike Iran under whatever false pretext. So situation in Middle East is getting more and more dangerous on daily basis. And well, TASS news agency is reporting that Israeli police did form some 600 local defense units all over the Israel, and according to this report, Israeli police plans to create an additional 1,200 these local defense units, armed units. You tell me how many thousand additional armed people will participate in this escalation. These units, each of them probably counts for at least platoon, I guess. So 1,200 platoons, that's a lot of people in arms. And I doubt that these forces will be used for defense of local areas. They will be sent just about everywhere, like Ukrainian side did, by the way, in Ukraine, when they first create these local territorial defense forces, formally to protect exactly the areas that they were formed, but eventually we did see those units on the front line. Let's continue RT's reporting. In my understanding, Israel already has under arms over 500,000 military personnel. Over 500,000 military personnel. Let's continue. RT is reporting that, well, this is quite interesting. This is quite interesting news. Lost tribe of Israel. That's a headline. How fighters from India ended up at the front lines in the war against Hamas. About 5,000 Kuki and Mizo Jewish immigrants returned to their homeland after millennia, and many are convinced that by the end of the current war, both Israel and Bnei Menesh will have undergone profound changes. Well, what this article is about, that there are small minority in India that identifies as one of the lost tribes of Israel. It was the 12 tribes, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not historian, by the way, but what I remember is that it was the 12 tribe of Israel, if I'm not mistaken, and nine of them are known, and 3 of them are missing. And historians and some scientists are trying to find the traces of these lost tribes. Some are saying that they are in India. One tribe is in India. Some say one tribe is in Central Asia. There are also some minorities that some historians think may be the descendants of this lost tribe. Some even think, by the way, that this lost tribe is Ossetians in North Ossetia, although modern Ossetians are descendants of Alans, and Alans were part of Sarmatian civilization, Scytho-Sarmatian civilization. They were Sarmats, basically. And they were Iranian speaking. But, well, I guess for some scientists, that's not a reason to discount possibility that Scytho-Sarmatians themselves were this lost tribe of Israel. Very interesting story, by the way. Very interesting story. If you like history, I recommend to go through this topic. It's fascinating stuff. Really, whenever I do see some historical articles, I usually try to learn some more interesting stuff. And by the way, to go back to this news, well, fighters, Kuki and Mizo Jewish fighters, are also participating in this escalation. And well, we have a report that at least one of them already were wounded during the confrontation. Well, I wanted to share this information just to highlight some historical parallels and how fascinating history as a subject is, as a subject of study. Let's continue. And well, RT is reporting that, well, drone strikes on US bases injured 24 of US troops. Well, this is some additional news, by the way, out of Israeli-Palestinian conflict. When it comes to situation, to summarize situation between Israel and Palestine at this point, it's let's say operational pause. Operational pause, as I understand, Israel and its NATO allies are massing forces to conduct combined military operation against Palestinian forces, and probably against Hezbollah and maybe even Iran, possibly Syria. So some big escalation may be in preparations, but at this point it's operational pause, and sides are preparing for further escalation. And some additional news, by the way, now. As I just said, RT is reporting that 24 of US soldiers were injured during this barrage of strikes, or wave of strikes on US military bases in Iraq and Syria from 17th of October. According to Pentagon officials, from 17th of October, several times were attacked military bases in Syria, and the same did happened in Iraq. especially in Iraqi Kurdistan, around Erbil area. Erbil is capital of Kurdistan, if I'm not mistaken. And well, this escalation when it comes to US bases in Middle East. And today, by the way, we also have reports that Shiite groups, armed groups in Iraq did make statement that they yet again did strike US bases in Syria. And well, this escalation at one hand may force US contingent to flee those states, or maybe US will use this escalation to send some additional troops in this area. You never know how Washington or Pentagon will react on such escalations. Usually they are quick on trigger, and they will probably send some additional troops. They will probably conduct some missile and airstrikes on these groups, armed groups, and both countries, by the way, Syria and Iraq, may experience some significant escalation from US and other NATO member states. Let's see how the situation develops. TASS news agency is also reporting that on the bottom of the Baltic Sea, not far away from this Baltic connector pipeline between Finland and Estonia, which was damaged recently, some yakar, some fragment was found, which does resembles anchor, and possibly that pipeline was damaged with that anchor. But same time we have reports that Finland now don't see Russian side as a force that was behind this incident or accident, and the Western media now are quick to blame China for this. So I mean, at this point, by the way, I find it extremely difficult to believe anything that comes from Western media or Western officials. I mean, how are you gonna trust them, by the way? It's just impossible. But it seems like they are shifting their blames from Russia to China at this point. And why China will damage that? Accidents may happen, by the way. Maybe some ship under any of the flag of any country were moving in that area and they drop anchor, or maybe they have some nests or something and they damaged this pipeline. Things happen. But to blame governments, by the way, I mean, you have to have some concrete evidence that it was some special operation, or otherwise you should never come out with allegations of such a scale to blame entire country. But at this point, no Western media, no Western so-called elites don't care about dignity, don't care about facts, evidence, don't care about nothing really, except themselves and their sick ideology, I guess, money probably also, and power, and that's why we are seeing these crazy developments, by the way. They can blame one day one country, second day next, and after a week they may come up with some very different statement. You cannot take them seriously no more, man. That's just too obvious. RIA Novosti is also reporting, by the way, that Russian ambassador in Armenia was summoned to go to Armenia's Ministry of Foreign Ministry and answer for some TV program that was aired on one of the Russian TV companies, in which some critical statements was made towards Armenian leadership. Well, yet another step towards further degradation of relationships between Moscow and Yerevan. it's not surprise to anybody at this point that current leadership of Moscow and Armenia are not getting along quite well, and it will continue this way. Unfortunately, relationships between the countries will continue to deteriorate, and I'm afraid at some point Armenia will not just leave all the organizations that this country is participating together with Russia and former Soviet Union, including Eurasian Economical Union and ODKB, for example. I'm always forgetting translation for this. For this organization, it's how it's in English, man. I see something. Yes, CSTO. That's a military alliance that was created by former Soviet republics. And Armenia will probably leave that organization also, and probably Commonwealth of independent states, which also was created by former Soviet republics. And at some point, Yerevan will probably demand Russian militaries to flee, to leave Armenia. And that will be it. Armenia will end up being alone in a very difficult region. And well, I don't think this is the best way for Armenia, but yet again, it's none of my business. If Armenian citizens want to go this way, that's their choice, and exactly same position has Moscow. And many Russian officials did say that, you know, they find it difficult to understand why current leadership of Armenia does what it does and escalates with Russia. But if that's the way that Armenian society wants to go, then what Moscow can do? Only, you know, Russia can only hope that relationships between the people of the two countries will continue to be great, because it is great. But when it comes to relationships between the states, well, I don't think these relationships will improve anytime soon, at least as long as these Western puppets are ruling Armenia, like Pashinyan and his associates there. That all of them, by the way, all of them are assets of Western so-called elites. And, I mean, probably care about Armenian society and Armenian citizens about the same way that they care about penguins in Antarctica. They just don't care. That's it. But anyway, let's continue. RT is reporting that, well, Black Swan event may take place, by the way, and Black Swan event is called situation when because of some geopolitical and geoeconomical tensions and escalations, some significant oil market is experiencing significant turbulence, and in this case, Black Swan event may take place as a result of Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which may drive prices for oil up to $150 per barrel. Well, RT is talking about this now, but well, I did spoke about such possibility, I don't know, a week ago, maybe more, because it's obvious that if Western so-called elites have plans to further escalate on the Middle East and use this Palestinian-Israeli conflict as a reason to escalate with Hezbollah and then with Iran, by the way, to shut down navigation in the Persian Gulf, of course that will not just be a huge hit on China, by the way, from economical and energy security standpoint, but it will also be significant hit on the world's economy, because oil prices, if world market will lose oil and gas, LNG supplies from Persian Gulf, well, I don't think rest of the oil producer nations will be able to compensate for such a huge loss. And we are talking about over 10 million barrels of oil a day, about 15 million barrels of oil a day, if not more, by the way. I don't know exactly how many million ton of oil, million barrel of oil is produced on daily basis by all the countries, all the oil producing countries in this region: Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Iraq, even Iran. Probably around, I don't know, 15, 20 million barrel a day. And if world market will lose this amount of oil, I don't think rest of the oil producing nations will be able to compensate. And oil prices may skyrocket, not just up to $150 for a barrel, but maybe $200-300 for a barrel, and it will devastate the world economy, of course. Not just China, but world economy, because just imagine a level of inflation in that case. And what will happen with prices, because after all, energy has its share in prices just about everywhere and just about in every product. Isn't it? So yes, RT is correct. Some further escalation may definitely influence prices on oil worldwide. Not just oil, but also LNG, by the way, and gas, pipeline gas, for sure. And well, let's continue. RT is also reporting that Russian foreign debt to GDP hits record low, and well, Russia's external debt continued to shrink in the second quarter of 2023, dropping below 15% for the first time, RIA Novosti reported on Tuesday, citing data from country's central bank. That's quite a positive information, quite optimistic data, really. 50% of debt in comparison to GDP, it's basically nothing. If you take in account, let's say, debt of Japan, for example, which exceeds 200% of GDP, if I'm not mistaken. And US also, by the way, which already surpassed 100% of debt in comparison to GDP. It's somewhere around 120, 130. Maybe more percent at this point. And well, every other year the US debt is increasing by hundreds and hundreds of billions. And dear friends, this news is gonna be last for this first update. Today, RIA Novosti is reporting that Russian ruble, Russian national currency, is continuing to regain some positions. And at this point, Russian exchange rate of Russian ruble and, let's say, US dollar is 93 rubles for a dollar. A significant improvement if you take into account, let's say, previous week, when at some point Russian ruble reached 101, 102 even, if I'm not mistaken, dollars for 102 rubles for a dollar. I guess significant influence on improvement of situation when it comes to national currency had a recent decree of Russian president, if I'm not mistaken, who basically demanded by decree that Russian big companies, big exporter companies, will sell at least 80% of their income in foreign currencies on the local exchange and on the local foreign exchange. And as a result of it, of course, Russian ruble regain some positions. But in my understanding, although I'm not financial expert, by the way, but in my understanding, this is short-time solution. This is short-time solution, because if we take into account how many billions of dollars and euros Russia did not receive as a result of destruction in the trade between Russia and EU member states, or Russia and North America. In my understanding, optimal exchange rate of ruble and dollar will be somewhere around 120 rubles for a dollar, maybe a little more. Well, probably that exchange rate will become reality towards end of this year. But yet again, I'm not financial expert, and I can just share my opinion based on analysis of information that are available from open sources. And this is it for now. Optimistic news, by the way. Russian ruble is doing okay, and Russian economy is doing okay. Quite okay, if you take into account all that pressure that comes from the Western so-called elites. And dear friends, if you find this update interesting, please consider to click that like button and leave some commentary about any topic you like, just about anything, really, just about anything. More likes and the comments probably influence algorithm of YouTube, and increases my chances to reach wider audience. And for very same reason, if you can, please share links to my videos or my channel with your friends on the platforms that you are active on. We are close to reach 19,000. Our community is increasing little by little, moving forward, and well, with your help, maybe it will be possible to reach 20,000 before New Year. That will be great, dear friends. Basically, this project, by the way, these channels are evolving before very your eyes. And I'm sharing with you all the news and all the plans that I have in regards to this project, and we are basically together creating this project. And well, if you think, dear friends, that I mean, these channels, this channel on YouTube, on Rumble, also Telegram, by the way, are interesting, and which are good addition, I believe that Telegram page, good addition for project, because there is video updates, and also you can just about any time check on Telegram page and then see some additional news. And well, if you think this project is interesting, has some potential and deserves to exist, please consider to support my work with small donations through PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. I had some hopes that before New Year on Patreon we will reach 150 subscribers. I have some doubts about it right now, but anyway, you can see links under this video in description box or in the pinned comment. Have a great day, and take care. See you soon.